Live. This is Hollywood and Connelly. Amazingly, with the double biceps, it isn't the contract and legal requirement. Every single time we appear on camera, we have 3 special guests from the SA Titans Arm Wrestling Club. And we thought we'd triple our money. We'd go with 3 of the best and recently upgraded to the top 20. It is none other than Grant Law. Hello to Grant.
How you doing, Matt?
Good. Welcome to the show. And, of course, the beast himself. It is none other than Brandon Chan.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, Matt.
All right. And a newcomer to arm wrestling, but it's probably coming up to 10 months or something now for you?
Yeah, about 12, I think, yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah, I'm at my year anniversary.
Jeez, all right. Well,
yeah.
But you've been doing really good things on the table and improving a lot recently. So welcome to Kyle, who hasn't chosen a nickname yet, Davison.
Thank you. I'm the man of many nicknames. That's my gimmick.
Nicknameless.
That's right.
Nicknameless.
I have too many. Too little at the same time.
Yeah, well, we went with King Kyle to start with because
That's true.
I don't know why. It just popped into my mind. It was like, that'll do. When I needed to edit the video, I needed some name. I didn't want to just put like the Executioner versus Kyle. It was like King Kyle. That'll do. Yeah, that's more interesting. And we've got Fox 8 Ball has jumped into the chat already. And,
wow. Super quick.
The legend. He is a fast man.
Lightning.
He's fast as a fox, if you could say that. Yes.
Okay.
He's one of the legends over in the UK and met him at the Arm Gods event that they had over there. It did fall into a thorn bush at some point.
No, that's the worst.
But he was, in his defense, he was trying to prevent somebody else from falling into the thorn bush.
Oh, so he's a hero.
So yeah, that's a role.
A hero for the people. It was Evan Burgoyne who was competing on the card. So he's
right.
I'm imagining like a bodyguard scenario where he's Evan go in slow motion.
I can see that in slow motion.
Pushed him out of the way and leaped into the thorn bush. Yeah. I think that's quite apt. But so in terms of arm wrestling, we'll just start with the simplest question, and we'll go through each one of you. And just Grant, if you want to start, what got you into arm wrestling?
Well, as you can see, the Devin Larratt shirt on. I guess, like everybody else, I'd stumbled across Devin Larratt videos, and then it takes you to Michael Todd, and it takes you to Travis Bagent, and you start watching all these things. And I've always had an interest in strength sports. There was never competed in it, but was always, grew up watching World's Strongest Man, and I guess if you rewind it further back, watching Lou Ferrigno as the Incredible Hulk as a kid was always amazed by the physique. Loved bodybuilding. We got into that for many, many years. Was also rubbish at that. But more of a fan than a participant. I did compete in one tournament. It was hideous, terrible. But yeah, I guess, and it just, I don't know what it, I used to do a bit of wrestling, submission grappling, if you call it that. And
not my kind of wrestling.
Yeah, not the oil stuff that you do.
Wrestling.
But, just thought I'd give it a go and stumbled across the club, got a hold of you, Matt, and before you realize it, you're sitting and having hot pot with arms aching, wondering why you got into this. But, absolutely.
No.
Love it. It's become a bit of an obsession, really. I've got my garage fitted out at home with all the gear and everything. And,
Absolutely. Well, you've jumped into it, pretty full on, which has been amazing. And you've had some recent success in super matches as well.
Well, I won the last one. I've had a few losses before that, but you got to take them and you learn from them. But I won the last match I had on right and lost on left to the same guy, to the Saw Doctor.
Saw Doctor. He came prepared with his own nickname.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually his job title.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you can feel it when you pull him. I mean, he's got obviously these big long hands, as Shane, and but really, you can tell he works with his hands. He's not an office Johnny like me. You might have seen the video. I did it unless you just sent it to me. But he had one of those. He used those massive circular saw blades, and I assume it goes into a machine, but they're huge. And he turns it inside out.
Wow.
And he said that to me the night before, not trying to psych me out or anything. I barely slept.
I think from memory, I had my first super match with him as well, left and right arm. I think I won left arm and he won right. So took one
All the
apiece.
way around, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. He likes to do
Sounds
the
like the next
double
match
header.
over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he does the double header because he lives out in the countryside, so he gets down to the club every now and then.
Yeah.
But we've got a comment here from Fox 8 Ball that says that you sound Scottish.
Yes, I was born in Scotland in the sunny state and lived in South Africa most of my life. So,
South Africa.
South Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, but first and foremost, I'm a Scotsman. It's in my blood.
Fox 8 Ball has heard of Scotland.
Has he?
I don't know what he's saying here. Maybe you could decipher it for us, Grant. He said, War he fay.
Wahi Fay.
What if he? So he's asking me where I'm from. So I was born in East Kilbride. That's
Oh, there you go. See, he's a real Scotsman, none of like these fake Scotsmen that get around.
There's a lot of wannabes out there.
That's right. Wearing kilts for nothing.
That's right. Yeah.
We just wanted a skirt. Yeah.
Anything to let it dangle.
That's great. And so, yeah, we'll move on with Brandon. And what was the thing that attracted you into arm wrestling for the first time?
Well, I come from really humble beginnings. I used to get destroyed by my uncle.
Oh, yeah.
And I was pretty embarrassing. But he is actually pretty strong. I think if he started now, he would do pretty well. But yeah, every family occasion, I used to arm wrestle him and always get beat. Because I think because he knew the technique as well as he had the technical strength side of things as well. So I was sick of losing. That's why I did arm wrestling. So when I came to the arm wrestling club, I kept losing more. But at least I was able to learn the techniques and learn how to work the angles and learn how to train. And yeah, that's where we are now.
Yeah. So you had sort of what I would say, you had a base strength when you first came in. You felt like a strong guy. But yeah, it took a while for you to find your lane and your groove. And it feels like your inside game is where you've settled into. And having a big win over Tim Graham, which was enormous.
That's huge.
One of the highest ranked guys in the club, a veteran. But yeah, so you've done amazing strides with your arm wrestling career. Is that like is the hook? Did it take a little while to sort of find your groove, as in technique wise?
Yeah, it did take a little bit actually. I think I practice both hooking and top rolling now. I find top rolling more better to start with because it's not as painful.
Oh yeah,
but I'm happy to go either top roll or hook depending on my opponents. But yeah.
So yeah, so you'll be happy to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Have you added a press into your game at all?
I've tried, but I don't know. I just can't pick up on it. I'm not sure if it's the technical side of things, but I don't know how to drop my whole body weight into it. I tend to just use my triceps or just use my shoulders and chest. So that's something I got to work out.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it either.
I think it helps if you're really tall. You know, that's personally.
Yeah,
I'm
so.
what am I? 5'10", 5'11" in shoes, maybe at best. And I just find to get that far forward, where your shoulder is nicely in line and you're not, out of line, is really quite hard. You've really got to go up on your tiptoes, and the other guy can see it coming.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got to be a bit taller.
We've got Siren who's in the chat who says, "Hey, Dad," and "Hey, guys."
Hello, son.
That's great. And Dominic Lawrence has also popped in to say hello. Hello to Dominic Lawrence there. And we've got a follow-up from Fox who says, "Were you in Green Hills?" He says, "No way. East Kilbride. Do you know James Oswald?" And he says, "Whereabouts in Scotland?" Because he's from Glasgow.
Ah, good. Hope you're a Rangers man. You know what that means.
It's soccer, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I'm a bit allergic to the green table here. That's the arch nemesis, our rivals in Glasgow. Either you're blue or you're green. So, but I will tolerate it for the purpose of the podcast. Usually, this place will be getting wrecked.
We'll do that afterwards.
Yeah, that's it.
Halfway through, you're just like, "I can't take it anymore." And of course, we've got Kyle here, King Kyle, the director, the man without a nickname, the man with no name,
many nicknames,
nameless Kyle.
What was it that attracted you to arm wrestling?
Well, it was kind of it was that time that we shared on Spithood on a film set. So Matt and I worked together on a film set in 2022, I reckon it was, and kind of bonded over I guess like it was wrestling, wasn't it? Like old school wrestling to start with.
I think it was just making silly noises.
Yeah. Yeah, that checks out. So we're making silly grunt noises, and he goes, "You know where you'd love to grunt? At our Kilburn Community Centre from 6 till 8. Where we train with the Titans."
I think it was like a. You may have said one or two quotes from films, and then that led on to another one, which it just went back and forth from there.
That makes a lot of sense. But so we shared a film set together for a little while. Where I was working as a sound guy, and Matt came in one day and he goes, "Oh, I do arm wrestling." And I went, "Arm wrestling is in like arm wrestling?" I'm like, "Oh, everyone does arm wrestling." And then he put me to shame publicly with all my peers. He actually, the way it went, it was he says to me, "No, I do it professionally. It's a sport." And I went, "Oh, okay. I didn't know that." He goes, "Yeah, wait right here." And within maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and I imagine lugging this table all the way through the main street of the city, he comes into the building and drops this table right in front of me. He goes, "All right, jump on." And that's when everyone pulled out their phones. And I was hooked ever since.
So was that the first thing he said when he met you? No, I do arm wrestling.
No, it was probably a quote from like Terminator or some sort of like 80s or something film, something like that.
I always keep I've got 2 arm wrestling tables in the back of the car now, but I always make sure
you never know when you need an arm wrestling.
That's right. Because if somebody shows any level of interest, and it's like, "Oh, well, I've just happened to have one right here."
And how can you say no?
Exactly. So it's a lot of fun to be able to jump on with people, and I found doing that at film sets or anytime you're on a job and it's a lunch break or whatever, and it's like, this is something different you guys would have never seen before. And it's right here. We can just have a go and mess around on it, and then I can just put it back in the car when we're ready to go.
And as a boom operator, that's a guy that holds a big stick. It was very, very smart for me to jump on a table with someone really strong.
Oh, no.
I remember there was a scene afterwards. I was holding up my arms, and I was like, "Oh God, I'm actually really sore right now." And that's because
did the mic keep going into shock?
Maybe once or twice, but it was because I just kept trying to hit you. I remember I was like, "I got to get a pin on this guy somehow." But yeah, no, it was really fun.
It's soul destroying when you first get into it. I'll never forget my first night at the club, and obviously chatting to Matt and what have you, and I forget exactly what happened, but I ended up the first person that I pulled was Valera.
I knew it was going to be Valera.
Everyone pulls Valera.
So Valera, obviously, most people wouldn't know him. He is 50 kilograms soaking wet. And he always wears like a hoodie type of long sleeves, because when he rolls his sleeves up, he reveals these Christmas hams.
Oh my God!
He's a thin guy generally, but he's just got these massive forearms.
He hides it. He tries to hide it.
But as I walked to the table, he said to me, just come over and I'll show you the ropes. And I'm 108 kilos, right? And not the strongest guy in the world, but
wet?
Pure fury.
Dry as a bone. Dry. And in my mind, I was saying to myself, look, he's obviously just going to show you, but don't beat him. I mean, he's half your body weight. And that disappeared within about 10 seconds. I just questioned the meaning of life and what is happening.
Why is his arm not moving?
I literally cannot move this guy. It was just, and that's, I guess, part of what got me hooked in was just that it's a new skill. It's more than just strength. And he is strong as well. But, But
now you crush him.
He hasn't been at the club for a while. We haven't seen him.
Yeah. It's been a little while.
Yeah, he's still a strong guy, and I'm sure. Yeah, there should be a club policy where just every new guy gets Valera.
100%.
Or left arm Taran.
I'm pretty sure he seeks them out. I'm fairly sure he does.
Probably does. Yeah.
He's like, ooh, let me go over to them. Hey.
And I remember going home that night. My wife said, "How did it go?" And I was just quiet. I was like, hold on, let me just think. I can't process what's just happened to me.
Did you sit in the shower with it running cold?
I wasn't far off it.
That's great. Yeah, well, it's good now that when people turn up, there is a lot of people there, and it's like, they feel like, oh, I can sort of hang back and I can watch for a little bit, and then if they do get on with someone, it's like, okay, it's just you that I'm dealing with. But they've got a whole bunch of people they can talk to and find out stuff from. And, if they're a little bit more extroverted, they can, talk to as many people as you like. But Yeah. Whereas previous to that, for the last when I started, there was 3 people, and it was like, well, I guess this is the guys that we're going to be getting along with, and then it took a very long time to build up to maybe 7 or 8 that were consistent, and then it's just weird for me now, like, to go to training and not get on the table with every person there. Like, it's just, and there's people that have been there multiple times that I've never got on the table with. And I'm like, this is so weird to me because I'm so used to getting on the table with every single person.
That sounds like an open challenge, by the way. If you're new to the club, you got to jump on with Matt. Whenever I bring people, I always push them straight to the table with you.
Well, we've got Taryn Left Arm Broad, who's jumped in here, who's
Left arm.
very dominant on his left arm, loves the left arm. Can barely get him to do right, actually. He says that Valera is Valera is the kind of guy that wears a compression shirt as an oversized pump cover, but he's insanely strong for his size.
Well, yeah, I mean, he posted a video on it as he weighs 50 kilograms and he was curling on a preacher bench, obviously not full extended curls, but really manhandling 70 kilos.
Far out.
Yeah.
So that's equivalent to me doing 130. That's just not, my biceps would just come right off.
Yeah, and he's maxed it as well. Like, he can't do any more, otherwise his body would tip.
That's
so his biceps not failing. It's the rest of his body.
Somersault over the
He's gonna have to start hitting up the guys at the club to hold him down every time he goes for a PB.
You have to anchor himself to the wall.
Get the strap on.
Why are you tying yourself to the wall for? I'm doing curls again.
Stabilization, really.
We've got the man himself, the winner of the Dave Stockbridge of the Year award. It is none other than Dave Stockbridge has jumped in and say, well.
Oh, we should all be standing up. Dave,
yeah. That's right.
How you doing, Dave?
None of this would be possible without Dave. And
the goat.
You can see
the goat.
The real on the shirt is Dave's company there, and that's why he's been off recently. He's been absolutely flat out with his own stuff, and we say, well, arm wrestling's more important than anything else, and he says, nah.
Because making families have homes is important, and we go, come on,
they can sleep on the streets. But look at this, Dave, when you coming back? Yes, Fox April says that he'd have to nail his feet to the floor. It's a very good suggestion for Valera there. Grant, do you any specific arm wrestling training? Actually, I know you've got a couple of little gadgets and stuff at home.
Yeah. So I bought a table, and I've got like a, what do they call the rack thing with the cable on it. So I do, I can do sort of cupping there, and I've got the little lever, what do you call that, little angle thing for rising kind of work. And then kettlebells. I find kettlebells are really good for biceps.
Right.
My wrists are always buggered, and doing easy, unless the easy curl bar has a really steep incline, what do you call it, the grips. So I'm doing a little bit of that, and I bought a rice bucket. So that's
something that I
surprisingly hard.
Well.
Yeah. So I like to warm up with that. Being an old man, just turned 50 this year, so I've got to be careful. I can't just jump into stuff.
Of course
anymore.
you can.
You got to,
What are you on about?
The people at the old age home don't let me do it.
Age is just a number, Grant.
Where's your rice bucket? Yeah, but that really works well. It's like a pre-exhaust kind of thing, I find. Yeah, and it just warms you up quite nicely.
So what are you doing with the rice? Are you just
I don't know, I forget who it is on YouTube. There's a 6-minute rice bucket challenge, and you think 6 minutes? That's nothing. My God! And so you've got, I think it's every 45 seconds or 30 seconds maybe, you do a different thing. And so you do opens, closes, grips, turns, turn the knob, handle that way, all sorts, dip, turn, and it's much more challenging than you would ever
just
think.
While the rice is boiling.
That's right, yeah. I've tried it with 2-minute noodles. It doesn't work as well.
You should try it with hot pot.
It gets easier. Like, it starts really hard and then it gets really easy by the end. But
you've got to do it properly. You've got to, if you just put your hands in and turn it, but if you use a narrow bucket, obviously it puts more pressure on the sides. And if you really put effort into it, I mean, the rice fights back. That's the right word. Bricks don't, but rice does. So, pretty good. And then you get lovely, wrist noises like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I tried.
You got to warm up the wrists.
I tried the rice bucket challenge once. My missus asked me, "What's taking so long to cook the rice?"
Trying to get out of the bucket.
Get some lovely umami flavors cooking up rice bucket that you've used for years.
And we starved that night.
What about you, Brandon? Do you do any outside of the club training?
Yeah, I still do all my general lifts like chest tries, back buys, all that stuff. But I also do probably spend about a day or two dedicated to just arm wrestling training. And that's all your pronations, your supinations, your rises, your back pressure, all of that. And I usually try to do that on the Thursday or Friday. That way my arms are fully recovered from the Sunday session before and also just in time to recover for the Sunday training session again.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that Thursdays is the only day I can really hit biceps because they've recovered from the Sunday by Thursday and they're not going to be still sore by the Sunday. So it's like it's the only window is on that Thursday. And if you go too late, if you go like 3 a.m, like I do sometimes, it's now Friday, and then you get on the table on Sunday, and you're like, God damn it, we're still sore. So
you found a Goldilocks zone then. Really, on that Thursday, you found the Goldilocks zone.
Yeah, that's right. It's just enough that it's fully recovered and hit it again without absolutely destroying it.
Yeah,
and recover again by Sunday. But yeah, it's a small window of time. I think it's just my style as well. Is very much defensive, so I'm always sort of holding on that bicep. Whereas others may, need more recovery in the wrist or whatever. But we've got Trent Taylor who's jumped in to say that, hey guys, love the Saw Doctor versus the Law. Great match. Also grants video to Shane.
Yes.
I purposely misquote this one all the time.
You do indeed, yeah. Nah, I think Shane needed a bit of intimidation, which backfired on me entirely because he sent me a video back of him performing a feat of strength that was pretty scary, turning a massive industrial saw blade inside out. So that was only the first one.
The second one, he lifted a car off of like women and children.
One arm.
Yeah, with one arm.
Did it with one arm. The arm he won with.
Hold this.
What was your video to Shane? I don't think.
I was just I was in my training thing and I was doing riser work, his nickname's the Saw Doctor, and I said something to the effect of when I'm done with him, he's going to be a gynecologist or something like that or whatever.
Oh, is that where you got that?
So, so,
I've been saying that for weeks.
Right.
It's a bit like one great step for a man. It's all been totally misquoted by Kyle.
Yeah, it's all right. To the extent of once you're done, once I'm done with you, you're going to need a gynecologist.
Well, it can work that way as well.
Why not?
That's great. I've been wondering why you've been saying that. But I'm like, I don't remember Grant ever saying that. And what about yourself, Kyle? Outside of arm wrestling, do you have anything specific for arm wrestling training?
Yeah, I actually just recently started. So I hit up the gym with Stretch, and he showed me a couple of things for my riser, pronator, for my supination, stuff like that. And shout out to Stretch as well, because he's definitely pushed me and my poor biceps. They were very, very sore in the end. But yeah, we just kept pumping the weight up, getting those little motions in just to get those reps out. And so I've been recently just general strength training and then also doing some specialty work with Stretch.
Awesome. Good. So Stretch, his real name is Joel Hewitt, and you may see him coming up in something very soon. He's got a match actually scheduled this Sunday against Tyler from the club. And Stretch is called Stretch because he's 6'8" and 150 kilos.
Massive.
And still growing.
Yeah,
still growing.
Incredible. And shortest of his family, is that what he said?
Wait, really?
Living. Yeah.
Shortest of his family.
And he's like 11 years old too.
Rubbish. I want to see a family photo.
Well, we met his brother. His brother was taller than him.
Yeah. He came to the club for one day.
Wow.
Yeah,
I can imagine him like being like knuckle dusted, full Stretch height, and just one of those.
You're 6'8" and you're the shortest in your family.
That's incredible.
It's just weird. It's like you're towering over everyone except the people you spend the most time with. I wonder if their house is set up. You know how you've seen like the tall ceilings,
10-foot ceilings. Yeah,
definitely.
I wonder how tall the rest of the family is.
A lot of skylights, so that way it doesn't feel so close to their head.
Yeah,
they'll never have a chandelier in their house.
That's right. Yeah, chandeliers. Whoever came up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6'8" is correct. Fox 8 Ball. He is a
Yeah.
giant of a man. You'll see a match of his coming up this weekend. He is taking on Tyler the Hitman Harrison, who is on a fast track to the upper ranks. This will be a good indicator as to which one of these guys is really going to push to the elite levels, that 1% level at least in our club to start with. But yes, it should be a great battle. Yes, he is small at 6'8". That's right. Oh, that's crazy. And Grant, so when we talk about the club and your experience when you went there, because I'm forgetting how long it's been that you've been there for. It's just over a year?
Yeah, just over a year.
Yeah. So when you came in, there was probably like 20-something people. Yeah.
Yeah, I've attracted all of these new members. Not really. No, I think it's just we've grown probably in line with the way the sport has grown internationally. We're all talking about it, that it's a fast-growing sport. I'll tell anyone who'll listen about arm wrestling that it's a fast-growing sport, and I've people that have come back to me going, "Oh, I had a look at that video, or pulling John or whatever." So yeah, it's definitely picking up, and it seems like every Sunday there's new people.
Yeah,
and even some people who haven't been for who are former members and who've come back. I reckon we're going to need more tables soon. I think there was an instance, or an instance rather, the last time or the time before where I wanted to jump on a table and there wasn't one.
Wow.
And then you've got one table with two guys pulling and two on either end, kind of waiting to jump in.
Yeah,
kind of thing. That's what you want. That's awesome.
Actually, I worked it out the other day. We have twice and a half as many members as we do tables right now.
Yeah.
And like when I came 12 months ago, that was not the case. It was pretty easy to just jump in.
Right. Yeah, I remember right in the beginning.
Yeah,
we were saying how many tables should we bring out? We didn't bring all of them out every time. I don't think.
Yeah.
So it's a great problem to have.
Oh yeah,
that's right. Yeah, well, we normally set up 8, so there's 16 people can be catered to straight away.
Yeah.
But as you said, I mean, probably in that first hour when everyone's trying to get on and they're warmed up, but that second hour you see there's a big group of people that are in the corner like,
what's for dinner?
Like, when are we going?
Can't wait for hot pot.
Exactly.
Don't go there.
Conspiring against my suggestions of not going there. Taryn Broad has a question here. He says that, have we heard of Adam Rayner? Only man as an adult who was both a dwarf and a giant. He went from 4'5" to 7'8" in his 20s.
Wow.
Yeah, never heard of him before, but Grant's making approval noises like he has heard of him.
The name, maybe not the name, but I have heard of someone like that. You can imagine the money they must have spent on clothes because you just,
God, yeah.
Is his name Joel Hewitt?
Joel Hewitt, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Does that make him the world's tallest dwarf?
It could be.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Giant
how do you call that?
It's like an oxymoron, isn't it? Yeah. What about you, Brandon, when you first entered the club? Because you've been there for quite a while now. What was your first few experiences like?
They were really good. I found that everyone was really helpful, and that's what kept me going to the club. Everyone was strong as hell. I couldn't really move anybody. And everyone had different techniques. So when you first start, everyone's trying to teach you something different. So it's like a brain overload at the beginning. But as you progress further, you start to understand these techniques a lot more. And that's when you start to find your lane and pick what you like. But there's a few guys that taught me a lot, like guys like Tim, Stephen, especially Stephen. I trained in the gym with him a lot. And Connor, they're probably the 3 that taught me the most as I was starting out. But yeah, everyone's really friendly, really helpful, really strong, and it's just such a great sport to be involved in.
Absolutely. Yeah. What about the community aspect of it? With everyone was nice and welcoming and wanted you to stick around and be part of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of those things is because we've had so few members, it's like, oh, you're showing some level of interest, but please stay here. We'll be nice to you. We'll give you chocolate.
Damn it, Alex, with your chocolates, my God.
Yeah, absolutely. What about yourself, Kyle?
What was the question again?
It was your first experience.
My first experience. Geez, that's hard. I'd say my first experience was basically, I think you pretty much from the get-go pulled me straight on the table. I remember coming here, hanging out with you a little bit before, playing some games and talking probably about film, honestly. And then, getting there, tables were all set up, just like everyone else. Walked in, had to set up the tables, which I think is a really good form of discipline and respect and appreciation for like the place we have and the equipment we have. So, like straight away, I was kind of thrown into it. In almost a weird, I don't want to say weird, but like a way that I would find nostalgic eventually, and I didn't realize that at the time. He's called me out pre-stream and now here. So we hopped straight onto the table, and I reckon I stayed on the table from Matt. So I reckon it was Brandon, Steve, Grant, Carl.
Valera.
Like I basically Valera rinsed me. But I reckon I almost went up against maybe 70% of the club that night.
Wow.
And I stayed on the table the entire 2 hours until people started packing up, and I was drenched in sweat, and everyone was going, "Dude, you're so strong. You're so strong." Meanwhile, I'm getting absolutely mowed through.
Yeah, we tell that to everyone.
Yeah.
Just to tell you.
I'm like, I get it. I'm like the little brother now of the club. Now I'm the newest member, and I'm the little brother. So, you give me the controller without the cable plugged in, and I play the game with you.
But that's the thing. I think from what I can see from countless hours of watching club stuff on YouTube, and also I've trained just one session in South Africa and then in Dubai. There's a very similar atmosphere, and I've got a theory about that. I was involved with the Adelaide 36ers. I did PR. I'm a public relations consultant. And
what?
Ground Law PR.
www. But they have the 36ers. I don't know if they still do it, but this was under the coach Joey White, as an American, and they firmly believe in the power of touch. You've got to be careful how you say this, but what those guys do is they'll form a line. They go and they shoot a hoop, and then they come back and they literally high five or low five, whatever you call it. They'll just hand slap and they do that. And I used to watch them. You've probably hand touched all of your teammates 100 times in a session. And I asked him about it, and he said, "Well, it's a psychological thing. You build up cohesion in the group. You build up, that sort of teamwork side of things, and you build up a relationship. It's a human trait that you touch." So you touch everyone, and that brings you all together. So given that we spent 2.5 hours touching each other on Sunday nights, in arm wrestling.
And then we arm wrestle.
I was going to make the joke, and I was like, no, don't do it.
Yeah, and then we arm wrestle. And then we have hot pot. So I've often wondered if that...
it was because we touch each other.
Well, yeah, I don't know. As I say, there's obviously friendships in the club, and people go off and do things as well. But there's never any kind of aggro, or there's always a spirit of everyone trying to help each other. There's no one that I've seen that's really tried to really hurt someone or whatever. There's none of that kind of ego, if you like, in a sport where the layman thinks it's all about ego, and it's totally the opposite. And I just wondered whether that is a psychological thing, is that you build build bonds in some shape or form intangibly with people because of this constantly touch. I've got friends who would never arm wrestle because I get all the gay innuendo about arm wrestling, and it's just for they're just pulling my leg and what have you. But some people just be uncomfortable with it. But you find yourself, I do it all the time. I'll be talking to clients even, and I'll tell them how to arm wrestle, whether it's part of the conversation or not. The next minute I'm showing them how to do it, and overcoming that initial reluctance to touch someone else. Yeah. That awkwardness, that's gone. And I've got to remind myself, hey, actually, not everyone wants to hold your hand.
Really?
I think it's when you look them in the eyes, Grant.
That's right.
That's when people feel weird.
Smile.
And once you're holding hand, it's just you stop speaking and just keep staring at them.
Yeah. I prefer a little wink.
But I had a fantastic experience early in the year. I went back to South Africa to see my parents, and looked up one of the 6 clubs in Johannesburg. And went there and was just, got a fantastic treatment, if you like, hospitality. Partly was because they thought I was good.
Yeah, that was the funny thing about it.
And that's Ryan Bowen's fault. That is
the international puller.
Yeah, because what happened
he is
was
an international puller.
what was the tournament called?
Hey,
The tournament, was it the T series or what? The Challenger one?
the T series.
Yeah. So I drew Ryan Bowen in the first round. The worst luck you can get. And of course, we'd never pulled. So he must have thought that I might be good. And if you watch the video, he actually, I remember looking at him going, God, he's taking this seriously. Whereas if he knew me, he could just be holding my hand and talking to his mates. But he was up and he was really going to getting into it. And I thought, shit. And of course,
it's the T series,
yeah,
man.
bless him.
You got to take it seriously.
He's a gentleman. He just gently put me down. And but that video made it to South Africans, so people assumed that I was just at a level where I was worthy of pulling Ryan Bowen, which is completely, the opposite. And so there's a lot of people came from all the other clubs to meet me, to really in advance of that, just tell people, hey, it was just a tournament. I'm not, nowhere near his level, but you had all these people coming up going, that's the guy who pulled Ryan Bowen. And the South Africans are desperate because they watch Ryan Bowen, they watch Lachlan Adair. They've obviously Riekert Bournemouth, is getting a lot of traction and there's a lot of interest in it. So they just assumed that I was close to their level, which is
the Blue Slayer.
So, I let a lot of people down, but eventually, it took me about an hour to convince everyone that I was pretty garbage. So they soon realised that I was telling the truth. I'm actually not.
When did you start sweating? Was it before or after they rolled out the red carpet?
No, it's but this club there is very similar. I mean, they have it in the guy in James and Jacqueline that run the club, and it's in their garage, big double garage, full of gear. I mean, this packed full of arm wrestling tools and paraphernalia. If you were a burglar and you broke into that place and you shone the torch around, you'd go, what the hell is this? There's all sorts of things coming out of the wall to hang off and all sorts of gadgets. But the treatment I got there was very similar to here. You're an arm wrestler. You're part of a small niche community, and we've got to leverage that, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that definitely translates, especially at our club. You walk in and everyone's so warm and they want to teach you how to do stuff. They want to show you how to do stuff and they want to convince you to go to Hot Pot despite Matt's frowning. But
some people just come for the Hot Pot.
It's true.
There's no interest in arm wrestling. They just want the big bucket.
Can we go Hot Pot after this? You guys ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
I've got 2-minute noodles in the cupboard.
But do you have 2 kilograms of it?
Well,
they give you a bucket, so you got to fill it up this deep.
That's right. You could pay $60 for it.
That's right.
Grant has a heap of rice in a bucket. We could probably use that.
I just want to quickly go through these comments here because we're getting a few they're building up, which is amazing. So we've got Richard Gibbs, who's one of the original members of the club.
Hand of Stone.
That's right. Hands of Stone. Exactly.
Felt him the first night as well. It's like holding a bag of rocks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's
crazy.
That's probably the hardest hands of anyone I've ever felt.
Titan
His hands are
Royals.
literally stone.
That was after Valera. Go to that extreme.
Wow.
When most of the time it was myself and team training for 3 hours straight. Yeah,
That's how you get the rock on.
absolutely. Sylvester's Tabone.
You got a big mouth.
What are they doing here? It's 4:30 in the morning over there, and Bill Hollywood says, "Hey up, lads." Heard that before? Hey up, lads. Nice surprise live. Hey, the wife's favourite show right now is Aussie Gold Hunters. But if it is, then that's great. Very good. Nice to hear in your Bill. Yeah. The siren says that many invented arm wrestling to look in each other's eyes and hold hands.
Yes,
And,
that's right.
Bill says that is possible. And Karen left arm broad has said, Ryan Bowen dropped your arm wrestling class.
That's true. He did get down there. I won't use you on. That's what you use. Get the change diet. Basically.
Still got the mic, still playing. Still got audio, let it know. It's quite quiet. I did see a message pop up for Wednesday in Norway. Oh, you right. Did you lean on the button over there?
No, I think it's good.
Levels up here. Should be okay.
Yeah.
Let us know if you should shout here. Your mic is gone low. Alright.
Is that just you?
No, maybe it's just mine. No sound. Someone got on there. Test. That should do it. I'll just pump it up on my level now. It's
feeling
funny that
pretty good.
most people join in just when we get the audio issue.
This is the world's first mute podcast.
That's right. It's people talking or pretending to talk.
Yeah.
We had to-
Silent like the lambs.
You would have done this as an extra in films when
Oh.
you've got to. I hate doing this. You've got
You
to
gotta
mime. Oh,
Yeah.
it's the worst.
Yeah.
Like, all right, guys, we're going to get a whole table full over here, and you're going to be pretending that you're talking and having a great time, and it's going to be high energy, you know. And it's like 12 hours of that, and
Yeah.
it's 12 hours of you know.
Oh,
and
that's
you
horrible.
look, if you ever watch a film, if you look at the extras in the background.
Mm.
Everyone is talking at the same time, which doesn't happen in real life. One
Not
person
even
talks,
close.
everyone listens. But in a film, you'll notice now that I've brought it up that if there's a table of people, have a look, they'll all be talking because they're not actually talking at all. They're miming.
Mm.
No, you just ruined it for
I
me.
have.
No.
I'm
I
glad.
thought those are people in actual restaurant. It was
No,
just,
never.
Just brought it
never.
guys.
That,
Hope you don't mind. We're doing a film. Just
No,
keep on eating.
no, not even
that
close.
doesn't happen.
that was my experience on the Royal Hotel. Was trying to mime playing pool and making fun of my friends in a bar. And that was so awkward. But I loved it. It was good fun.
Oh, you couldn't hit. You're playing pool when you couldn't hit the pool balls.
Yeah. So like the
were you doing?
camera was on us, and we're obviously obscured and blurred in the background. But yeah, one of my mates had to like miss a pool shot purposely, but show the action, and then I'm supposed to go, "Whoa, oh my god!" But obviously with no sound.
Yeah.
So I'm like, which is very confusing for our listeners right now. Yeah, it was just strange, very very strange experience, but.
Yeah, it's like that blooper that always gets brought up for one of the James Bond's films. I think it was one of the Daniel Craig's one. And there's an extra in the background with a broom, and he's sweeping, but he's not touching the ground. He's like this high above the ground.
Oh no!
And people are like, "Oh, he's not touching." I'm like, he's doing that deliberately
Yeah.
because you need to hear the audio. If he was sweeping, you would get when
Yeah.
everyone's trying to talk.
And it's true. As a sound guy, I can tell you it's true. We'll tell you to shut up every time.
Zend is in the chat. Hello to you, sir. Sam Well says happy birthday to Grant.
I knew that was coming.
That's right. Only a matter of time.
Siren says that hot pot sucks ass, which I completely support and
No,
agree
that just
with.
says sucks.
Oh no,
She
well, I've
said-
added the ass bit.
She said hot pot suckers.
Yeah.
She means she's having hot pot.
I'm a sucker for hot pot.
You can put
Thanks,
arse in the
Siren.
hot pot. I think it's the third row down, next to the
Yeah.
cheesy sausages.
Next to the octopus that's
Yeah,
still
that's
alive,
right. Oh, no.
has a family.
Sure, I just have the octopus's family with the octopus. You're not allowed to separate them. That's against the hot pot rules.
Oh no!
We've got the Welsh Wolverine Dean Bolt in, and I haven't looked at the results from the weekend yet, so it'd be interesting to see how that has come out, because I know they had a Triple Crown thing going on with Arm Gods, and people are saying that the microphone was quiet. Now they're saying it's going good, and that's better. Okay, great. And Taryn Left Arm Broad says, "I'm never watching a movie again." Thanks, Matt. Great, good. I'm glad that I could
Ruined
help you dedicate more time to your arm wrestling training, your left arm, because I know you wanted to find extra time to be able to do left. Well, there you go. Now you don't have to watch those movies
You've
anymore.
earned it.
Yeah, congratulations, left arm broad.
That's right. Absolutely. Do you do both? You do both arms quite comfortably?
Yeah, I find that my right's stronger and it heals better, but I try to do both. I think it'll feel weird to not do the other arm, to be honest. Some people can do it, but it's not my cup of tea. It's not my hot pot.
Oh no! And I think you're still sort of finding your exact best lane at this point in time, but your top roll's coming together. It's all
The
sort
top
of
roll,
there.
It's feeling connected. It's feeling connected, but it's been 12 months searching for a lane that I sit comfortably in, and I've been experimenting a little with a hook, bit of a hook pull. But yeah, I always come back to that roll. It ends up being a hook pull roll kind of thing, and I don't know. No, but it's feeling connected. So I reckon top roll, maybe even a low hand top roll, if I can get enough of my wrist in the right position, because it's been a little dodgy. But yeah, I reckon one of those two lanes definitely. I did try the press. I think I've got a lot of body weight for the press, but maybe not so much the. I don't know if I can get it quite there yet. I don't have the height.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I can't do it either. I know there's people in the club who are experts at it, and I've tried to get them to show me. I understand the concept of it, but it feels so weak for me. Like
It's elusive.
Yeah.
It's just it's probably I would get in that spot and just hold to try to rest and recover, but there's no pressure. Like, it just doesn't work. I don't know.
I would say that it's probably worthwhile any beginner arm wrestler spending the first 2 years just doing top roll. Your chances of injury with a hook is massive compared to top roll. Press is even worse, probably. Just elbow from hook. So I've got no interest in hook. I know that I'll end up getting myself injured. Whereas top roll, you get sore forearms and what have you, and wrists. But I think it's the injury-free route. And then from there, I think in 2 years you should probably know figure your body out. You've built your muscles up. You've strengthened your tendons, and you kind of know what path you're going to take.
I used to only hook, but then there was one night where I felt like a crack in my elbow, and it took like 10 months to recover.
Yeah,
it wasn't any pain, but it felt like being in a hook, like it sort of like stretched that tendon out a bit, so I couldn't hook for like nearly a year.
Yeah,
so that's when I started top rolling.
Yeah,
now it's better, but that put me off of hooking for a while.
Not for me. I mean, I would rather compete and continue not doing much, but still being able to compete. Rather than pushing myself, getting injured, and having a 10-month layoff. That would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's what I say to people when they first start is always that you'll find a spot, whether it's top roll, hook, or press, that just feels right for your body, and it just coordinates better and faster than the other two. And because you might have somebody who's quite tall, has long levers, and you think, oh, this guy's ideal for top rolling. But they just can't get that coordinated, or they just don't feel strong doing that, and they just feel like they just want to turn inside. It's like, I just want to do this. It's like, well, if you feel like doing that, then do that.
Do it.
Develop your game around getting to that position where you feel the most connection and you feel the most coordination. And it's fun to get on with them again in, say, 3 months' time and see which way they actually went. And it's like, oh, okay, you really did develop into a hook puller or into a presser, or, and maybe they're like, hey, I can't top roll at all. But I'm really strong inside. So, yeah, it's fun to find which direction people take with their techniques.
Yeah.
Yeah. What have we got here? Siren says that I like trying a press, but I don't have much height. But it's good to try to get the finish. Yes, it would be nice. I just can't do it.
I think I did one press, and that was, I think, my first match with Connor. And with him being a shorter guy with shorter arms, I was able to sort of get. And it didn't really. It just happened. I was just there, and that's the only way I could get it. I think it was Connor. But but it didn't feel good. My shoulder felt a bit funny, and I probably looking back in it, I wasn't right over the shoulder. I wasn't in that line. I was away, so won't do it often.
And I imagine it puts a lot of pressure on your rotator cuff too, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to get
and your elbows too.
Yeah,
because you're sort of not. You're pressing with your tricep, but it's really a funny angle. It's not.
I'm going to bring up your best moment on the table.
Oh dear! Oh no! My shocking left hand. I don't know what
it's the best foul that I've seen in person. I was going to find it. Give me 1 second. I'll get it going.
While you're finding that, I wasn't proud of my. I've always been a bit of a, I don't know, like against slipping deliberately, but I knew against Shane that was my
shout out Steve.
That's good. That's my only chance of getting up above his hand. And so I was trying to do that, and I was trying so hard, and because I could have won left as well, that I don't know what the hell happened. You'll see shortly.
Here we go. We just like the.
I was so desperate to pull out that I nearly pulled out of the room.
All right, so it's 2-2 here. By the way, this is first to 3. This is a pivotal moment.
It's all the eggs.
Shane has grabbed hold of your fingers there, and you're pulling a very nice face, and we're about to see that. I don't know if you could see that.
And that was me. That was embarrassment that I just put my hands up. My bad. Sorry, that's my bad.
I can see the shock on your face, man. You're absolutely shocked at what you said. That's a lot. Look at this, ready?
You tried to put your elbow back in there and hide that you did it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I was like a kid. I didn't want to share a toy. Mine, I'm going home.
Was that before or after you saw the Deadpool movie?
Bye.
There we go, that's better. Yeah, 'cause I had when that happened, you can see I was like, I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
Foul. Pin.
I remember seeing that and I'm like, there's no way that was a pin. And then I thought about it and I was like, well,
I was obviously
below the
trying.
pad.
He had just caught my fingertips, and I wanted to get my fingertips out. And so
Yeah.
on the keeping your elbow on the pad, you can only move so much, and so I was so determined to get my fingertips out of his grip that
Yeah.
whip to that.
But you didn't try little kissy faces or anything.
Nah, yeah, I exhausted that in the right hand match.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, it's one of those things as a referee that sometimes, like, you'll say go, and then like a press can happen, or just some crazy moment will happen. Like, so two people, they're connected like this, and they both just pull down, and they go straight down, and they hit in the center of the table, and their hands come apart, and you're like, slip. I don't know what that was. It's like I'm not even at eye level to be able to see like whether or not somebody's hand was on top of the other. But yeah, there's been so many times when just you get something that has happened that you've never seen before, and it's like, well, okay, I've got to make a call on right now.
What do you do with that?
This is the value I bring to the club. New experiences.
You do that again, but slowly.
I'm going to learn to do that, but do like a backflip.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, that was probably the best example of a professional foul right there.
You've
really solidified that technique.
Right. But I did, and actually apologized to Shane, and because of in the right hand match which I won, I did this. The only way I could win that was slipping, and I never ever wanted to win by slipping. But so the longer you're in arm wrestling, the more you do as everybody else does. But still, I'm not comfortable with slipping for the sake of it. But it is legal and sort of.
Frowned upon, but legal.
Frowned upon, but I didn't get enough.
I just hate it when two people know both of them are going to slip.
You may as well just go to strap, and I did say,
and I say that to them. I'm like, you're both top rollers.
Yeah,
you're going to slip. Do you want to just start in the strap? Nah, we'll be right. No, I'll hold on. I will hold on. Yeah. And then it's like they go, and they're like.
So me and Ash, we both do the same thing, so it just always slips, but he never wants to go on the straps.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
it's so impossible. Like, you're both pulling in the exact opposite way. Like your hands just naturally come apart. Like if you're both top rolling, it's the exact opposite direction. And it's like your hands are going to slip away from each other. If it's two top rollers, I always say you guys should probably start in the strap. No. Well, if you do slip, I'm going to start you in the strap every round from then on.
Well, that should be a rule, because we all know our sport does suffer from a little bit of an inability to sell itself, because there's a lot of faffing around in the straps, and the latest crazes, or it's become very fashionable to give the referee abuse and all that this sort of nonsense, and it's not good for attracting new people to the sport. It's not something you understand unless you've actually arm wrestled and you know why they're doing it. So that would be a good rule, I reckon. Slip once, every other match or every other bout is good with a strap. I think that could be used tactically as well by someone who desperately wants to be in the strap.
Yes.
You look at me and Shane. If I was Shane and you offered a strap match, I would take it. But Shane, why would Shane take it? He's got a longer hand. He knows he's got the better of me in a top roll position, so he's not going to make it more of a strength match.
Yeah.
So.
It is one of those things that frustrates me. There's a lot, I guess, with the competition side, where it's so much manipulation to try to cheat your way into the best possible position to start, whether that's in a strap or not, and then it feels like the opposite of everything else that comes with arm wrestling, where everyone's being supportive and making sure that they give you as much of themselves as they can, and allow you to work and allow you to get better and stronger. But then when you get a match, they'll cheat you out of a start, but that's how it is. That's the rules of the game, and it's like you've got to get better at setting up in your way to give yourself the best possible advantage. But it's a hard thing to sort of get used to, being like, because you can see people win in the setup, Like they've got everything they need, and they're like, they close their hand, and they're like, I'm good. I'm happy to go. The other person's like, I'm not. This ain't good for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. And sometimes they get started like that, or they mistime the start, or there's different timings with, close your thumbs, close your hands, go can be different referee to referee. And some people miss the start, and then they're 3/4 of the way to the pad before they can put energy into their arm. But yeah, it's because it's such an explosive movement. You can see people just blast through somebody else just because they have that faster reaction time or whatever. So there's a lot of elements that go to the sport in terms of that side of it with the competition.
Referees grip every match. It's not going to help me in any way. So that's how you know it's an unbiased opinion.
To me, that's the way they should do it. I mean, if you watch all of the top rollers, they go through the entire first bout of setup, sort of fighting with the ref and whatever. When the both parties fully intend to slip anyway. What's the point? Why bother?
Yeah.
I know you could get to the point where the ref says go and you're not in a good position, but just go straight to the strap, I reckon.
I'll jump on the comments here. So Sylvester Stallone has I have a hard time losing weight. I'm 100 kilos, I'm okay, but I'm 115 most of the time.
I feel you. I love food. Hot pot.
Yeah. Hot pot shouldn't be too bad. It's like supposed to be vegetables and noodles, isn't it?
You'd think so, but I make it
2
work.
kilograms of it.
I'm pretty sure that this is why I don't have the 2-minute noodles, but those ones, I think each packet of those is like 500 calories or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I prefer the cognac noodles, those little, they're like tied up a bit, those little white ones.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty sure I've heard that they're like, you can eat a whole bunch of them.
400 calories.
They're only like
1
2
calorie.
or 3 calories or something for like a whole packet of them or something.
All right.
Yeah.
It's 1 calorie for the world supply.
That's great. And Siren Franch McGee says that I disagree with every round needing the strap after a slip. My match with Athena was a perfect example. Yeah, well, it's not something that you would implore for every match, but I think if you know the pause, you know what they're going to be doing, and it's like you're just going to waste everyone's time. Are you going to slip? Because if you're going to slip, just tell me, because I want to just get to the strap now rather than wasting 2 minutes getting you guys in position and then you slip.
Steve.
But if they're actively trying to hold on, both of them, then sure. But if you know both, especially if it's both guys are slipping. Like why?
Yeah.
Like why go through the? Are you going to slip? Are you going to slip? Yeah. Well, don't worry about it. We'll just start you in the strap then. You both want that, so why not start in the strap? Yeah. But it just depends on the circumstances. But I do like with what we did with AWE, the rule set that we've come up with. That first 20 seconds, you get the opportunity to find your own grip with your opponent. Yeah. And it does allow for people to, get comfortable, and they could talk to their opponent and be like, oh, if you just come off my thumb, I'll be good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, cool. And as the referee, I always will, say, okay, stop moving there. Are you happy? Yes. Are you happy? Yes. Go. And it's like, they don't have any recourse after that. To then go, I wasn't happy with this. It's like, I asked you and you said you were happy. Yeah. You can't then say you weren't when you said you did. So, but I mean, your match with Shane, I think every single start was an agreed upon start, negotiated grip.
Yeah.
A gentleman's match, definitely.
And the other thing that was a bit more collaborative than other matches, when we did go to the strap, both Shane and I allowed each other for the strap to settle, because sometimes I just by force of habit or whatever, the strap sits quite high up, which is not a good. You want it to be right in the crease, and so we both allowed it to be in the crease, and that's where you feel you're strongest. Whether we're just gentlemen or I don't know, or naive, or who knows. But
the monocle and top hat was a nice fit.
Yeah, well done, old boy.
Jolly good, sir.
Jolly good, sir.
Body Cup Robert, it's Alex, has jumped in to say, Corey Lynn, the Eastern Beast, is the biggest cheater in Australian arm wrestling history.
I can vouch for that.
I think that everyone's highly supportive of that.
Whoever
What about
smelt
Big
it
Ben?
dealt it, Alex.
That's it.
But I agree.
What about Big Ben, Mr. Advanced Setup?
Mr.
Big
Advanced
Ben.
I
Setup.
think he's the
Oh,
one that
God.
started cheating for everyone in
I
the
think
club.
he loved he was the opposite of me. It was where I was very hesitant and didn't like that aspect to it. He embraced it with everything. He was like, "Oh, I get to cheat on it? Yeah, fantastic!
Yeah.
I'm going to cheat as much as I can on every single match."
Oh, shit.
You know? But
But he's very good at training for the setup. Very
he
good
is,
because of
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
Shout out, Ben.
Phil Woody says, I prefer to go straight to strap, but I still believe the pullers should always start without the strap. It's just the Devon style setup that kills time. Fev versus Brezink, king of the table, took over 10 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, it is one of those things that can draw out matches for a very long period of time. We've got Josh Barker has also jumped in. He's one of probably Australia's number one under 70s puller and has been for several years, and had a fantastic match with Thomas Fitzy at AWE2 at a lightning fast presser, as we were talking about before, with people that just have that insane reaction time. And Josh Barker is a perfect example, probably the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
It's like by the time the
Crazy
referees finished saying the word go, he could have pinned 5 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, you're going to have to come down and teach us a couple of things, I think.
Is Josh back into arm wrestling? I thought I'd heard that he was going into
He
fighting,
does all
MMA.
sorts of things.
Did a bit of boxing,
He's in boxing. He's, I don't know.
Man,
He's changed.
multi-skills.
He can't even comment the same. He's gone from Facebook to YouTube.
Wow.
He's jumped from Facebook to YouTube comments. Wait till people see my new form. And you see his avatar there is just a forearm, which is pretty apt. He's been training in the shadows. Yes, absolutely.
Has he reached Super Saiyan yet? That's what I'm wondering.
He did out
Probably
angle
Super
me
Saiyan
in a
3.
photo we
Yeah,
got
probably.
together. It was I think we were in Queensland for something, and he said, "Oh, should we get a photo together?" I went, yeah, no worries. And then he's like, "Oh, we'll stand over here," and he's like, "Okay, no, you stand on this side." I was
Oh,
like,
No
okay.
way.
And then he's got the perfect lighting, and his arm and my arm, he looks like 3 times bigger than mine. I was like, damn it, Josh, you're 70 kilos, I'm 100. This is not right.
99, man. 99, remember.
Yeah, that's right.
Under 100 kilos.
It was under 100. That's right.
I've seen it. I've seen the scale.
Yeah, it was Dean Bolt. It was just a little joke. I had a great time doing the commentary with Dean. I think we were just joking the entire time. He spent most of the time trying to remember the name of this movie that he'd seen. And I was doing everything I can to prevent him from remembering what it was.
Oh, it's the one with the guy with the ears and the nose.
He's like, it's an Australian film. Everyone knows it. I'm like, Priscilla? He's like, no, it's
It's
not
not
Priscilla. It's about
Priscilla.
these guys in like the outback. I'm like, Priscilla. He's like, it's not that. And I'm like, it is. That's what it is.
Oh, no.
But that sort of took the majority of it. And then occasionally we would say what's happening on the arm wrestling table.
Oh, yeah, and that's a pin. It was Priscilla, though.
Yeah.
What was the movie?
Somebody in the chat, he said, because he couldn't remember. This is about 10 minutes into this.
Yeah.
He's got, I can't remember this name. Please, somebody in the chat, help me out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
don't help him. Don't help him. Give him fake names. Don't help. And then somebody did. They actually gave me, and it was a movie I've never heard of. What it was some.
So
I
it
don't
wasn't Priscilla.
know. No,
Was
it wasn't.
Was it Walkabout?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
It was
might be
something. And,
Yeah. Nobody help us in the chat.
But yeah, once he knew what it was like, okay, and what was your point with that again? And he was like, I can't remember now.
Oh, dude.
Oh, no.
I hope somebody said it was Brokeback Mountain.
That sounds about as useful as Devin Larrett and commentating. Have you heard?
No.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
He's adopted. You've got Neil Pickup and then Travis Page and him, and they bring in Larry, and he just gets really soft into
Yeah.
the microphone.
Wow.
The commentator, you're supposed to
Really?
wrap it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's just
That's
okay,
incredible.
buddy. Yeah,
Talks
he's
like
really,
he's seducing you or something.
yeah. You got to really, I when I do my training in the garage, I've got a TV there, and I'll put stuff on, and you've got to turn the volume up to hear what he's saying.
Yeah, that's true. And he doesn't sort of stop talking either. It's real soft and
Yeah.
quiet, but it's continuous.
Yeah, just
He whispers sweet nothings into our ears.
Absolutely.
I'm
Just
sure
like-
he's listening to this. Come on,
He
Devin.
is.
Oh,
He is
Talk
a
up,
big
mate.
fan.
You gotta
Yeah,
love to
absolutely.
see
He
it.
is. When he used Grant Law or something,
Yeah, that's-
he jumped on
The
it.
Grant
Yeah,
Law.
no,
Yeah.
he's a fan. Yeah, he's sitting at home now with a Grant Law shirt.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's our
that
little Easter egg. You're wearing his, he's wearing yours.
would be cool. Josh Barker says he's 100% clean and natty too, so no more hiccups. And how is Hamza? Hamza is feeling incredible lately, but he is still just recovering from an injury. He's almost back to 100%, but he had originally hurt his elbow. And then he hurt his wrist after that. So it was like, by the time the elbow got better, he was like, okay, I'm good. And then he hurt his wrist. And it's like, phew. So I think the wrist is about 80, 90% there.
Yeah.
So
He's looking to go do nationals in November, so that hopefully he'll be ready by then.
Yes, but he's doing well.
And that ulnar nerve's a pain. But
it would be.
Having that through here, terrible. Yeah. Terrible.
Absolutely. Richard Gibbs, Hands of Stone, says, I like to hang onto people's fingers when they try to slip. Yes, it is a very effective tactic, and probably the person who does that best out of anyone that I've met is Stretch, who
oh my God,
6'8", 150 kilos, and has hands like baseball gloves.
Yeah,
and
it's easy to hold on.
You can't get away from him catching your fingers.
Yeah.
So... And Andrew Wood is here. He says, "G'day, mates. Hope you're eating your share of Vegemite. We're trying very hard just for you.
Hard in between all that hot pot.
How about a
and the hot pot?
How about a hot pot flavored Vegemite?
You know, what about Vegemite flavored hot pot broth? That wouldn't be too bad, actually.
That sounds terrible.
It sounds.
You got chicken soup?
Yeah, no, we can do
chicken broth anyway.
Yeah, we could do it.
Phil Woody says that Devin is a good commentator, in my opinion. Definitely contrast to the beast. Young man, I gotta tell you that.
Make no mistake, this man will eat your kids. I love Travis Bacon's commentary. It's really good.
It's hard to get to nail that gravelly voice that he has. Yeah,
because Devin's getting that as well, just from all of the shouting in matches. He's becoming like a WWF, sort of that voice.
That's good. That's good. We need more of that.
Yeah,
yeah, 100%.
Of some of the impressions that you've done, you do a very good Neil Pickup. Which I said to Neil, and he said you sounded more Geordie than anything else.
No.
I don't think you were expecting me to do that.
Not a Geordie, no. No, that was an evasive tactic.
And who else? You do a good Devon as well. I've heard your Devon something about, I got this match coming up.
Oh, yeah, that was my first, you got things you put on the internet. I forget, that was with Alex.
Right,
with Buddy Cop.
Yeah. You found a green jacket just like his.
Yeah, no, it was actually a cloth similar to this, and I just wrap it around my head like a shroud.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy.
You're gonna have to be strong, really strong.
You can take your shoes off when you walked in.
That's it. Yeah, walking around. Yeah, avoided the shower. This match is gonna get ugly. Dennis Aplenkov ugly.
That's great. Devin and Derek, or Travis and Ray for a commentator duo. Devin and Derek, or Travis and Ray. I don't mind anybody as long as they're interesting and they add to the conversation or the experience of when you're watching a match. If they're taking away, or if they're distracting and they're obnoxious, then that's when it becomes a frustration to try to listen to an event, and especially if there's two commentators and one of them's trying to talk over the other or just hog the spotlight or interrupt them constantly. That is a frustration to listen to. So but I think any of those, the combinations of guys that they use are quite good. So
what with you and it's you and Ryan that's going to be doing? So is one going to be the main one that the other one's like the color commentator or something? What is that?
They've got an Indian guy that they'll be using as well. So and then Ryan and I will be alternating days. So,
I see. So not at the same time.
Yeah, so he'll be doing first day, and then I'll do the second. Third, back and forth with the Indian gentleman that we have on there as well. So in terms of play-by-play or color, I'm not sure what the role will be, but happy to do either. I always try to paint a picture for people who haven't seen arm wrestling before, or they don't. Maybe they've seen it a bit, but they don't exactly understand why that person won or what they were doing. So I try to explain the technique or the strategy behind what somebody was doing and the reason why they won. That's my thing that I aim to do. So the people when they're watching, they go, oh, okay, I get it. Like I understand what happened. And it's like, if say somebody got into a king's move position, it's like, well, and you can explain why the opponent had to rise their hand up to be able to combat that and all the rest of it. So, yeah, as long as the audience gets an understanding as to what they're watching, I think that's my goal. So, yeah.
Well, I think you need that anyway. It's a very hard sport to film. And to portray in media, to broadcast, because it's all the little micro adjustments in the hand and stuff, and the nuances that you miss. I've always thought that arm wrestling should have a camera really straight down on the top of the hands. I'd love to see what the top guys are doing with their hands.
Yeah, they do. They do at some of the promotions. They have that.
Yeah.
I don't like that camera angle.
Well, you wouldn't stick with it, but you'd obviously switch between the various angles.
Definitely in the setup, I reckon, because that's where a lot of the important micro movements start to happen. But yeah, I reckon easily having 2 aside, 1 front, 1 above, and then 2 kind of sniping in to get some of the close-ups on the hands.
Then 8 on the camera.
And then 21.
1 on each forehead.
We get a helicopter orbiting
the referee cam.
arena.
One at the back of the room when I slip and stumble back.
Or the competitors wear GoPros or something.
I want a GoPro on each angle where the pin pad is, and
4 drones.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I want 2 on the feet, 1 for each foot. For each opponent,
because you do say, when I've showed matches to people, to friends, they go, "What's he doing? What's happening there?" And you've got to stop and explain it. So even to people that know what they're doing and what they're watching, it is good to just have somebody just talk you through it. Save you thinking.
Absolutely, I felt the same way watching poker online on TV for the first time. I lived in Canada when I was 23, and when I first got over there, it was like, that was the first time I'd seen it, was on TV there. And I was like, oh, poker? Okay. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. But, I was like, I'll stick with it for a little while, because the commentators were very engaging, and they were explaining, what's happening in strategy and this, and he's doing that because this guy's sitting at a table just doing, doing this for like 5 minutes. But I'm watching it like, oh.
That must be hard.
Yeah. So that I was like, why did I stick with it? What drew me into continuing to want to watch it? It was that, and also with cricket as well, because cricket is what you get, maybe 3 seconds of action, and then the guy, he's walking back to bowl the ball again, and then running in, and then they get 2 seconds of action, and then
ball's getting passed around. Everyone's having rubbing their nuts with it. Fantastic,
right.
Riveting stuff.
But the commentators could make it sound like you're watching the most entertaining thing possible, especially if they start. I used to love when they would get into sort of a tangent and they would be telling a funny story or something like that, because then you're watching just to hear the story and not even watching the cricket at that point. And then like a wicket would happen and you'd be like, God damn it, they've interrupted the story. I wanted to know what happened. So,
yeah. But nobody goes to the cricket to watch it anyway. I've been to the Adelaide Oval and international matches, and everyone's outside. What do they call the area outside?
The oval?
There's the outside
grassed area.
The bar, I think.
Where all the all the bar areas.
The hill.
The hill. There's like 5,000 people in the Adelaide Oval, and the rest of them are out in the, no one knows what the score is. They're all just, getting shit-faced on Pims.
On Pims. Yeah. Brilliant.
It's only $12 for a small plastic cup of it.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, it's insane. But what about a favorite arm wrestling moment that for you personally? We'll start with Kyle. He started with Grant the other time.
Started with me. And I've been doing it probably the least amount of time.
All right, we'll start with Grant now.
My favorite moment, I'm gonna have to say that it was when I discovered hooking for the first time, and that was on the table with Marty, the Juggernaut, I think is his nickname. He's gonna hate me for not knowing that.
No, just okay.
But yeah, so we were pulling for the first time, and he's like, "I've been really enjoying the hook," and I was like, "Show me what you do for a hook. Like, I really want to know, because I reckon I'd only been top rolling that would have been about 2 or 3 months ago. So 9 months of just top rolling, and occasionally trying the press and watching my wrist give out, and I'm just like, well, all right, let's try hook. And it was that moment where I discovered that I had a really strong drag. And he goes, dude, why are you not using that? Just open up that lane and start working on bringing your opponent in. And it was kind of like the sport had opened up for me again. And I was like, oh shit, I haven't even learned this avenue. Why have I not learned this avenue? So yeah, I definitely have to say it's been in the recent times where just learning that new technique it just popped open the game again. And the second would be when you see people come in that you've brought in and you've been pestering them to come in for ages, and all of a sudden they're here every week. Like my mate Mikey, he's just started coming. I think he's about 4 or 5 weeks in, and he has no sign of slowing down. So
Yeah,
like those moments where you're building the community, you're like, wow, I was able to share that. Like that beautiful connection that I have with the sport and with the people with someone else. So kind of a top 2 moments there.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
That's good. Absolutely. You find that you're now wanting to pull inside, like that's your thing?
Yeah, I think I'm enjoying hook more. But I think it's shiny object syndrome, right? Like I've just found out this really neat trick and people don't realize that I'm doing it yet. Telling everyone my secrets, but yeah, I've just gone, oh, this feels really good. And after getting absolutely destroyed by the only man that could pull against Ryan Blue Bowen, and that's Grant Law, I've had to reconsider my tactics compared to our last match. So yeah, getting inside and pulling and grabbing somebody in and just opening up their arm, I feel like that's just really been beneficial to me in my game. So
nice.
Yeah,
awesome. That's
definitely.
good. I'm looking forward to seeing that on Sunday.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Brandon?
It'll probably be the the Titans Open when I went up against Big Ben.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely loved the guy. So when I went up against him, I really wanted to smash him.
Mr. Advanced setup.
Yeah, I think I came in as the underdog in that match. So what had happened was Ben always does this thing where when you're gripping, he'll try to suck his thumb in, which will make it seem like you're over his thumb knuckles, and that you generally have to grip lower. It will force you to grip lower, which is what he wants. So I remember just squeezing his thumb really hard so he wasn't able to pull it down. So that way when you called go, I was able to get the jump on him and I was able to take him to the his side of the table and then he kings moved me from there.
Yeah.
And that was probably the first time somebody's ever kings moved me. But I knew from watching a Devin Larat video with John Brezink, I remember Devin screaming to John, climb his thumb. So that's what I did. And eventually I climbed up high enough and then I got the pin on him.
Fantastic.
And I actually did that twice that night.
Wow. Did he do the same? He dropped into the King's move both times.
Same thing happened twice.
Oh, wow.
Squeezed his thumb as well, that one.
Did he say afterwards, like, you bastard with your thumb squeezing?
Yeah, he did.
I reckon you noticed the hunger in your eyes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, at least you cottoned on to what he was trying to manipulate. So that part of the game, and you've outworked him in that area. So well done. It's good. Good job.
Yeah.
Mr. Law.
Yeah. Well, mine was just more of a funny thing, I guess, fairly recently. Your wins and what have you. But I was on the table with Sam Busby, quick as a flash.
Kiwi quick. It's going to catch on.
Yeah. And
it's going to catch on.
As you know, I have a bit of a reputation for gripping and re-gripping. And it's really a frustration of not being able to do anything with your opponent. So I grip, re-grip, and I try and ride. And I get kind of a bit carried away, and I'm doing exactly the same thing to Sam, and he just stopped because he's quite a quiet kind of guy, and he just leaned over and just touched me in the shoulder, and he said, "Just calm down."
Yeah,
and I felt like a 5-year-old kid, and he then just, it was the funniest thing. I cracked up the rest of the night. I was laughing just the way that he did it. He wasn't being condescending. He wasn't being he was
genuine.
Just calm down.
I remember that. That was hilarious.
But it has made an impact because I have to, I've got to be more, as you know, man. I think you got a video up with there where we're going and I kind of just stop, like I've got the breaking strain of a Mars bar. So I keep sort of going. So I've got to build more sort of that continual sort of sort of pressure as opposed to just, that's not working, I'll try something else and just faffing around. But yeah, so that it's actually, as funny as it was meant to be a helpful comment, but it has helped me. I have given it a lot of thought going, actually, what are you doing? Rather keep consistent pressure and, so thanks, Sam.
Yeah, it is great when you get on the table with you and you'll climb and then as you squeeze, you've squeezed yourself back to
Oh,
exactly
yeah.
where
Where
you
I
were.
was.
Yeah.
And you
I'm
do that
special.
again
Yeah.
and again and
Yeah.
again.
I'm special.
I reckon you literally as recently as this Sunday just gone called me out for that. You've gone, yeah, that was a good regrip until you finally clenched down and slid all the way down. And I'm like, why am I doing that?
Yeah.
You've re-gripped yourself to the exact same point.
Yeah. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable.
Yeah, it's frustration with lack of progress. You know, that's where you
Yeah.
build up that connectedness, is just keeping at it.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a lot more static holds now because of that. Because I definitely have Corey is very enthusiastically reminds me that I need to build up that sort of strength of your negative concentric kind of strength. So I think a lot of those static holds. So
Yeah, that's good.
yeah,
A little bit of table ADHD, don't have.
yeah, like that.
So is
Yeah.
there anyone that you're sort of aiming at in the rankings? Well, I guess we could start with Brandon on this one.
Not at the moment, to be honest. I'm just trying to work.
Nah, call him out right now.
You're sitting at number 4. Trust me, people are looking at you.
Yeah, I
They're
am
waiting for you to
tired.
get a little bit sick, waiting for you a little bit injured. Yeah, that's Brandon.
Right now, I'm just trying to focus on getting my health better. I've recently run into a bit of health issues. So, main thing I want to do right now is just lose weight, find a diet that works and stick with it. And I'm going to do all that before I really put the 100% focus on arm wrestling again.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Absolutely. Grant.
Well, I only saw the rankings today. I mean, to be honest, I've got to number 16 largely by default for people that are inactive.
By the Mars
But there's
bar.
there's not too many ahead of me on the right hand anyway.
We got
but
them up.
I mean, myself and Carl, we've always talked about a match, but he's been away a little bit. He usually gets the better of me, but I've probably got a 30% chance maybe on a good night.
Carl with the moustache.
No, Army Carl.
With the moustache.
Has he got a moustache? He does.
Yeah.
Carl with a C.
Yeah, that's right.
Carlisle.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe, but yeah, I'm still actually recovering. I tried to do some forearm work last night, and it's been a fortnight, and I'm still a bit tender from my super match. But, and I'm looking at doing nationals in November, which is, I feel a bit of an imposter for that, but I'm assured that anyone
You've
can
gone up
enter.
against Ryan Blue Bowen.
Yeah, that would be
you've
lucky
earned
to
your
have
spot,
you.
man.
So I'll probably, I'm going to go out in the first round, but it's just a bit of experience as long as tournament organizers, apparently they don't mind. Yeah, anyone can do it. So
As long as you declare it's for table IQ, it's fine.
the table like
You get
Yeah.
it's double elimination, so you can go out
yeah, that's
2
right.
rounds.
Well, that's it. And
Yeah.
I'll do left and right plus seniors and masters because they've got a masters division apparently over 40s.
Oh, that's me.
Oh.
Pity it's not over 50s.
I'll come in. I'll get you first round.
Yeah, it's funny that usually the definition of old is roughly around about your age exactly. Yeah, so as you say, so I'm guaranteed 8 matches.
Yeah.
Hell, why not?
Yeah, why not?
In a weekend in Melbourne.
Hack your ass, Joe.
That's right. Yeah.
Hack your ass, Joe.
Who knows? You might win one.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
If you get a
Well,
stop or you
or
get
2
some
or 3
moments,
or-
yeah.
Yeah, if it,
Yeah,
well, you know,
definitely.
Take the title, maybe.
if I get a stop
can see
on
that.
someone,
Should
I'll
be,
be happy.
might
That's,
be
you know.
Devin Larratt. I mean, he might be there.
That's right.
You guys might wear each other's t-shirts to the finals.
You might be the super heavyweight champion of
Can you
Australia.
imagine? I'm the only guy that enters the Masters, and I've got to give it to me. You guys would be filthy with that. Just walking in and be the-
The only guy-
Australian champion.
Stand up.
International puller and Australian
That's
the only
champion.
grandmaster competitor.
They did that with Hamish and Andy, the radio
Yeah.
guys, and when they did their TV show and they went through America, and they were in New York for something or another, but Hamish just decided to enter a bodybuilding competition, and he's
I was only a matter
Oh,
of time.
no.
He was such a buff guy.
oh yeah, absolutely. So he's had his moment to pose, and he covered himself in baby oil and Speedo, which was very rainbow colored. Went out and spun around on the floor and did some crazy, ridiculous things, and
A for effort.
yeah, it was very funny and whatever. But then he actually won the body competition because he was the only person that entered that division, and he got this massive trophy with like this bodybuilding guy on there, with this huge brass
Yeah.
and he's like, "Remember when I was a bodybuilder?" Like,
It's an idea. I could actually I'll just buy my own trophy. Who's going to know? You know,
That's
you
true.
weren't there. Yeah.
I've
If
got
you
one
guys
over there
keep
you can
quiet
have.
about it. Yeah.
Get your own IFBB
Yeah, that's got
pro
a ballet
card.
dancer.
Yeah, why
on it.
not?
there is one just under here, I think, which is from one of our tournaments, which which somebody either forgot to take home with them, or I don't know, it just got left behind.
Probably mine.
It's
Was that
probably
where I left it?
I was like, well, I
The
guess
first
I'll
place?
give it a good home, and then it fell apart. But
You can only get it if you can describe it exactly. That's how I know you definitely dropped it.
First place 70 kilos. I think that's mine.
But that's what I'd love us to look at. You know, it's early days, but I mean, Adelaide's big enough to have at least 4 clubs, in my opinion. There'll be some different opinion on that, but I think in Sam, the podcast with Sam, and he was saying there's 5 or 6 in Auckland. I look at Johannesburg; they got 5 or 6. It'll take time, you know, and we've got to be careful we don't grow the club. We can't start another club at the expense of Titans. It's all going to be a collaborative kind of thing, but the way the sport's going and the way the club's going, I think it's just a matter of time. There is obviously I think Huxley's got a mini club sort of going out there. Shane Opie's looking at it. He's got a couple of guys that he's interested in. And I said to him, just put a couple of ads in the gym, you know, just target strength, people with an interest in strength, and see what happens.
yeah,
You know, and then we can how awesome would it be if we can have a proper, like, sort of South Australian Championships?
Yeah,
clubs
like a
versus
proper state
clubs.
tournament.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah, that'd be
absolutely
awesome.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, it seems to be that a lot of the clubs that Sam was talking about were quite small. I mean, there were 3 or 4 members or something.
That's right.
But still, I mean, it's if maybe they couldn't make it to a certain part of town on a certain night or whatever, so rather than them missing out, it's like, no, have another group of guys that train on a different night.
Yeah.
But as you said, I think we've probably got 40 active people that come along, not every week, but, you know, it's usually between 25 to 30 that we'll get there each week. But, what I don't want to do at this point is start another night and say we did one in the southern region, and it's like, okay, great. And half the people now don't go to the other one.
Yeah.
And then you go from 25 to maybe 10 at that one, and then
10 at another.
I mean, if you looked at strategically what might work, for example, if you looked at, for argument's sake, Victor Harbour, Goolwa, that sort of area where none of us live down there anyway, but they're far enough for it not to dilute Kilburn, Titans. That could work. It's something I think it's going to happen anyway, to be honest. I think it'll happen by
the growth of the sport is just exponential at the moment. You know, it's just going to keep growing. So,
and I think and we obviously know that people are trying to grow the sport. Devin Larratt being one, and there's a lot of people being attracted by the drama and all that sort of stuff. But to me, the biggest impact on the growth of the sport will be people like Brian Shaw, who has double the amount of followers as Devin Larratt has. But his content that he puts out isn't drama. There's no trash talk. It's very bland. But his followers are more likely to be genuinely interested in what does Brian Shaw eat, what does he wear, how does he train, what does his gym look like, and all that sort of jazz. That's our market. People who have a genuine interest in strength, they're more easy to convert to arm wrestling, I think. So the more guys like Brian Shaw get into it, I think that's where it'll take off, and you'll have gyms starting to put up tables.
Yeah. And it's kind of sounds like what he's doing is he's really bringing the journey to the viewer, right? That's what I guess a lot of people are interested in, is seeing storytelling. What it means to start training and go to the gym, and what routines you do. Because I was in the gym with Stretch the other day, Joel, and he was showing me some of the stuff that he'd been shown, like, obviously from like Steve and other members of the gym, and it's stuff that you wouldn't traditionally see in a gym. It's the stuff that you'd almost be probably told not to do, even by PTs, because it looks risky. Like, it looks kind of scary, but it's, as long as you know what you're doing and you're responsible with the weight, and you've got people like that on the internet showing you the journey, showing you how to do these things and setting them up and watching the results as they grow, like, people are going to invest in that. It's like you were saying, story. People invest in a good story. People want to see story.
But when the sooner Brian Shaw gets on a table in a competitive match, and I know he's like, he's got that winning mindset, he doesn't set himself up for failure. But I would love to see him at a local club, and wherever he lives in Colorado, whatever it is, and just losing to people and showing that content, because people go, how the hell is he losing? How does that work? And that's where people go, okay, arm wrestling's not just strength, and I can do it, but I can give it a go because there's technique involved, and I can be good at the technique, maybe be a decent arm wrestler. So I just, Brian's not too concerned with the growth of the sport. That's not his thing at the minute. But I wish it was. I wish there was other sort of strong men making that transition, the Eddie Halls and the The Scott's brothers, whose names escape me.
The Mountain?
The two brothers. The Stolten
Tom,
brothers.
was Tom one of them?
Tom
Stolten
the Marta brothers.
Yeah.
Tom Marta and Stigmata.
Yeah.
Yeah. So get those kind of guys, there's obviously isn't money in it yet, but if those kind of guys got involved in, Martins Licis and all these kind of guys, that would be awesome. If I was Engen or any one of these big promoters, I'd be looking at those kind of guys and having an exhibition match in every major tournament just to get that additional exposure.
Yeah.
One of the questions somebody asked on one of my streams the other week was, who would you like to see Brian Shaw go against first? And I said it's got to be very.
He'll roll up the sleeves. That's how you know it's business.
Oh no, Valera is like 50 kilos. Brian's like 200.
Oh wow,
yeah. It'd be funny if he lost as well. But I said it's got to be somebody with a name and recognition that has their own built-in audience, because you don't want to waste that opportunity of having somebody who's a megastar in Brian Shaw and people are going to watch regardless as to what he does. You don't want him going up against somebody who's well known in the arm wrestling world, but outside of that, no one has any idea who this person is. I think Larry Wheels would probably be my pick. Because I think it would be a decent match, and I think Larry has the following that it could attract. And they're both big, strong, muscular guys. But outside of that, it's hard to sort of see anybody that would meet the caliber of celebrity that Brian brings. Because as I said, I mean, if you said, okay, well, John Brezink, it's like, yeah, but nobody outside of arm wrestling knows who John Brezink is, or you got Schoolboy who had big fan base and all the rest of it. Even arm wrestling whisperer, but I mean, these guys are quite smaller compared to Brian. But I'd love to see Larry versus Brian. I think that would be quite good. And in terms of seeing Brian lose at a club, I think that would be very hesitant to show.
Of course, absolutely,
It would be because that's the appeal is how is he going to go?
Yeah,
is he going to be any good? We know he's strong, but can he arm wrestle? Like that's the question. And if you're seeing footage already of him getting destroyed, it's like, oh, we already know that he's no good.
But it would work in a documentary format, right at the end, and you see the journey,
Yeah. I'd definitely say that the recording of the documentary prior to that match, releasing it after the match, regardless of results, would probably be,
because like Pulling John is about him losing. It's not a film where he wins in the end. And that's that juxtaposition that could work. But I still, as I say, I think Brian Shaw, if he keeps at it and hopefully doesn't get injured, there will be a match. Obviously, I'm sure there's negotiations and what have you. Keeps turning me down, but. I look forward to that. I think you'll bring a lot of genuine.
Well, you have gone up against Ryan Blue Bowen,
that's right.
And that's that's scary in itself. So,
to just look at numbers, it's good that all the followers and what have you, but we need to attract people who are going to participate or are going to buy pay-per-view. There's no point attracting your armchair people who just want a bit of drama, because they're not going to keep coming back. They're not ever going to be convertible or investable or whatever. So. Yeah, I think Brian's our big hope, or one of our big hopes, I reckon.
Yeah, it'd be great to see him get into it. Andrew Wood has said that Kadetcha or Rivas may be good opponents for him. I agree in terms of physicality. I don't think in terms of popularity that they would be my ideal choices for if I was managing Brian's career and trying to make the most money and attention on the match that I possibly could. I wouldn't say that Kadetcha or Rivas have the star power that others may bring. But it wasn't the Mountain and Eddie Hall going to have an arm wrestle at some point. They were training. I saw a video with Eddie Hall and Neil Pickup on the table, and they were running through technique and stuff. It was before they had their boxing match. I think they ended up agreeing to have a boxing match instead. But they were looking at doing arm wrestling, which would have been phenomenal. But I did see there's some footage that's online still of Eddie going and spending a day with Neil, and he's explaining techniques and all the rest of it.
I think that was because he was supposed to have a match with Rob Vision Jr. actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember that was a match that was going to happen, but then it got cancelled or something.
Oh,
I'm not sure why, but I remember it got announced and then cancelled.
Oh, well, Eddie Hall was supposed to have the match with Rob Vincent Jr.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that would have been good too.
Yeah.
I think Brian versus Dennis, Brian versus Levan is what he wants, because Brian wants to be number one. I mean, he's not
Right.
interested in
Yeah.
anything else. Yeah, I mean, and Levan obviously doesn't have pulling power outside of arm wrestling. You would have to build it. If you put enough money behind it and do these little promotional things where we explain who Levan is and how insanely gifted the guy is, it could work. But
it definitely require a cross collaboration between both parties in order to achieve such
a lot of a big investment.
Oh yeah,
and a reason to invest.
Yeah, even celebrity endorsement. Just need that one person who's, I don't know, even TikTok famous or something. That's
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Dana White.
He can be the referee.
Yeah. I said go. I told you to go. You both were happy with your decisions. I said, are you happy? He said, yes, I'm very happy. I'm American happy.
Andrew Wood says that Eddie Hall got his elbow popped by Brian Shaw's mongoloid technique. He's been doing filler content ever since.
Oh,
I haven't seen that, so yeah, that's crazy. I don't know what the mongoloid technique is, but but yes, it sounds like he's done himself an injury, and that's one of those things. If your career is your body in a way, you're an athlete and you're depending on it to compete in your sport or to make content or whatever, then it'd be a very frustrating thing to have an injury, especially with something that was debilitating, where it's like, you ain't coming back from this. Like, you're not going to be that anymore. Oh God, what do I do? Like, my audience sees me as that. I think that happened with Ronda Rousey. It wasn't an injury, but when she lost to Holly Holm, she was so mentally devastated that she said this on, I think, Ellen, that if people don't see me as the champion, then who am I? Like, it was like, wow, well, you're still you, like, but
she's WWE superstar Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, that's right. She's still in it. I thought she left that as well.
So she ran her contract out.
Okay,
from memory. Yeah.
She's writing books now, isn't she?
Yeah, probably
kiddies books.
I think she just had a child and ran the contract out and started writing books, which is cool.
Fair enough.
I met her husband, Travis Brown, who's also a fighter in UFC in Vegas, and he's like Stretch. He's enormous. He's like 6'8", giant of a man. And,
wow.
Because I'd met so many of the fighters that weekend, and they're all so small. I was like, oh, these guys are tiny, like, because they're all the lightweights and all the rest of it. And even the middleweights looked quite, like 85 kilos or something. And then, I met Travis Brown. It was like, oh, okay, that's the super heavyweight. Yep, for sure. Like, hello, sir.
You forget you were 6'4", 6'5", 100 kilos.
That's right.
Oh, no.
He was enormous, And, I don't think he's still fighting, but he did have a good career. Where's the UFC swear jar? I think we need to bring it out. Because
and there it is as one.
It's just this cloth.
You brought up the WWE.
That's my swear jar. WWE.
It's very intimidating meeting someone that as big as that. I met maybe before your time. Corey Sanders was a South African heavyweight boxer, and met him a few times. And just when you stand next to him, and his hands are massive, and you just think, if you give you a backhand, you'd be flying through the wall. It's just power, Yeah. And then he going up against Klitschko, the Vladimir, he was like, a foot shorter than him. And you think, my God, what must it be like being in the ring with Klitschko, or
Tyson Fury, or all those guys are mega tall. Anthony Joshua.
Joshua's mega. He's 6'6", I think.
It's like that seems to be the era of the really tall heavyweight at
about
this time.
6'7".
Yeah, I think Usyk is 6'2" or 6'3", and he looks tiny compared to Fury.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm not going to comment on height. Probably being the shortest one here. One of the short ones here.
We'll see if there's any more questions on here. We've been going for that went quickly. It's an hour and 40 minutes. Wow, that's been going fast. We'll give it another few minutes, maybe another 5 minutes, and we'll wrap things up. If anyone's got any last minute questions or comments, if you want to throw them in now, this is the perfect opportunity. But aside from that, we've got a good match coming up this weekend. When we get some predictions, actually, we've got Tyler Harrison, the Hitman, and he's taking on Joel Hewitt, little Stretch, I'm not sure if they're doing first to 4 or first to 3. I'd like it if it was first to 4, but it will be right arm. So
Only right arm?
just right arm. What do you think, Kyle? We'll start with you.
That's tough because I've been recently watching Hitman Paul, and he's phenomenal. But going up against Stretch and training with him, like Stretch he's putting in the work, and he's smashing PBs and he's lifting heavier each week. So I think by default I have to put my money on Stretch.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Brandon.
Oh, it's a tough one because I know how strong Tyler the Hitman is. And I love a good underdog story, but yeah, it is hard to get past 850 kilos. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Stretch as well. That would be the safer option.
All right.
If I was a betting man, I'd say Stretch.
Okay.
All right.
I reckon. So I saw Stretch and Tyler, pull just on practice, and Tyler seemed to have the better of him then. And Stretch has had some health issues lately, which he's probably recovered from. Some Himalayan flu that he got being so tall, something like that. Whatever.
You only catch it when you can see the peak of the mountain.
So and then Tyler seems to be getting bigger every week. He comes in, and I thought, the doors are closed, but he was just standing in front of the doorway. It's massive. So I think it's also agrees very equal, but I think I'll go with Tyler. I don't think it'll be a hard fought match. It's probably going to be a bit of battle in the middle.
Oh yeah,
and maybe with Stretch not being 100% over his illness, maybe Tyler will pull through. That's my thought.
It's gonna be close.
Yeah,
it's gonna be so
it's gonna be an
painfully
awesome
close.
match.
Yeah,
Should be fun. Should be fun. Following that, the next weekend we have Stretch versus the Berserker.
Oh God!
Wow,
that's
that is that'll be a match.
That's a battle of the ages. That one.
It's not going to be on left because unless he's injured his left, but it'll most likely be.
So
on
he's
right.
doing right back to back.
Week after the week. Yeah,
Ooh.
It depends, I guess, if he feels all right.
Yeah, if he feels all right.
Yeah.
But thoughts on that?
I'm almost too scared to say.
Brandon?
I'm going to have to go with Big Lass on this one because I think the table IQ and experience will really prevail on this one.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Kyle?
Well, as I was saying earlier, Stretch has been eating his prayers and saying his vitamins. So I think I'd be silly and stupid. Stilly. I'd be stilly to say.
How stilly would you be?
I'd be stillier than a Sally in the Snow. I don't know. I'd be very stupid to say that it wouldn't be a close match because it's going to be a very, very close match. But I reckon if he's going to be back to back, I've got to keep in mind a little bit of fatigue, obviously, from the last week.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tyler's going to push him to his limits. So, I reckon that the advantage is definitely swaying for the Berserker Laz.
Okay.
Yeah. Lass. That is how you pronounce it, by the way. So
Lass.
L-U-S.
Yeah.
It's
Lass.
What about the surname? Botha.
Butter.
Buerta.
Buerta.
Yes, it's like Bua.
Boyka.
Buerta.
Buerta. That was good.
Boyka.
Buerta. Lass.
Hey,
I'd hope so.
I win.
You commentate.
I've been
No, I
saying
think
last
because-
Botha for like the last
okay.
2 years.
Yeah, he's not called the Berserker for nothing. He doesn't like losing. It's not an option for him. He'd rather get broken than lose. And the Stretch having a match the week before, that's tough. That's hard.
That is
I'm
hard.
not sure he's thought that through. So yeah, that'd be a bloody hard one. But yeah, not to be missed.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, Stretch's original plan was to have the match with Tyler and then straight after have the match with Lass.
Wow.
So he's
Oh,
feeling
give him
super
10 out of 10
confident.
for confidence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Look, the only match that I've had was against a fantastically strong man, and that is Grant Law.
But it was his birthday.
And
so-
it was
Yeah.
his
The
birthday.
Blue Slayer.
But I could guarantee you after my match with Grant, who tore me to shreds, I definitely couldn't go another match back to back. That's
there's good
confidence right
shadows
there.
That'd be good
Yeah.
whining. Yeah.
Are we
look at that.
doing one of these? Look at that. You can actually we've got some
Well,
got some sections going now
Grant's
on the
out
forum.
angling everybody.
Looks
over
tiny.
there.
Oh jeez. How do you compete with that?
I know. That's a shock.
That's
What's that? There
fantastic.
we go.
Oh,
Can
don't
I
worry.
live here?
This is why I'm taking all of my photos.
Stay here. I get to sleep like that.
You're just going to cut out that
But so
section
never,
of the video.
never mind all
Yeah.
these. When are you having a super match?
Yeah,
Well,
I think you should, because you're not the number 10 in the club. You should
No.
be
Number one.
I look at a few names there and I think,
Number 4.
there's obviously getting top 3 is hard, but I reckon.
Yeah. Well, I've got a match with Sam. He asked me the other day when we were on the podcast. So that's not this Sunday. It will be next Sunday.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I think those top 3 guys are beyond me.
Yeah, they're in their own level.
Yeah.
And then Stretch is coming up there soon.
Exactly.
Be
Yeah,
those
that's
4.
right.
It's be hard to chase.
Bit of a round robin then.
I feel like it's sort of like there's the top guys, and then I'm sitting here by myself, and then there's like a gap, and then there's people underneath.
Yeah.
So it's like I take a match and get destroyed, or I take a match and destroy someone. So it's like, which one do I do? So but my focus has been on the promotion side of things at this point in time, anyway. But I'm happy to have a match with Sam. That'll be fun.
Yep, well, you put a hell of a lot of
Flesh pin
effort into the sport, so
absolutely.
Yeah, try.
Absolute pioneer of the sport.
Pioneer.
It's
all stemmed from that perfect lighting in that corner. If it wasn't for that lighting.
Is this why you wanted to sit here? I get it.
That's where I normally have everything set up.
That's officially the double bicep spot.
That's it. Yeah,
So
that's
exactly. It looks a lot smaller. I was disappointed when I hit it earlier. I was like, that doesn't look as good as it normally does.
You forgot to draw in that striation.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look
at that.
You can't see it on camera, but there is a marker pen on the desk. He fills it in.
Yeah.
Right, that's great. All right. Well, any last minute comments for you guys? Did you want anything you wanted to plug, or you've got your PR business?
No, I don't want to plug.
No, screw that.
Keep it on wrestling.
Get represented by Grant Law.
Please subscribe to the Grant Law podcast.
Which doesn't exist.
The Hot Pot podcast.
We might as well tell us about your new thing. This is the reason we're doing this tonight.
I do have a podcast studio, which is in the Adelaide CBD, and I've had a lot of clients saying, can you come to me? Which is, it's very hard. You've got all your stuff taped down and set up and what have you. So thanks to you, Matt, for letting me bring my new mobile podcast gear tonight to give it a go. Hidden under all the so that's hopefully we'll get more podcasts done in the arm wrestling scene. We need to get content out there.
Absolutely. So it's one of those things where you've got the professional setup, but you can walk in carrying 2 suitcases and you're ready to go.
That's right. And I'll be in Melbourne next week for the big defense expo, and that's why I'm sort of testing it out now, just making sure you don't want to leave it to the day and you'd realize you don't know how your new console works. This is a new gadget, similar to the one I've got, but different.
What's the most exciting feature on the console?
And it's one I wanted to do, but I didn't want to cock up the podcast. The plan was with your Batman voice. I was going to. There's an option here where you can turn it into like a little kitty. So I was going to say, have you always had a Batman voice? And I would click the button and you go, yes, well, it's been like.
Should we try it?
But I made an arse of it. Yeah. So.
It's like the helium.
Yeah, the helium.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's pretty cool. But I do corporate podcasts, so that doesn't really come into not really an option. Yeah.
You give it back to them. You're like, I hit that button and I left it on the whole way.
Yeah.
It's really serious. It's like law or something.
It's like the CEO of Santos.
Proceedings from the 2007 court case.
Look, I've always let it go that high to make that noise.
Yeah, you've got the death metal option. You like that sort of demonic
Oh, yeah.
noise. Yeah, so I've got clients appealing to people to invest in them and everything, give us your money.
Where is she? That's good.
I fight for justice.
I'm actually working on like a death metal kind of roar that I do before the table. You know how Tim Graham the Viking always screams. Yeah. Trying to work on something that sounds like a beast. So
it's going to be trademarked
to my nickname.
Did you have a prototype?
Connor's
Can
got
we hear
the
something?
best. Connor's woolly mammoth mating cry. That it's just awesome. I love it. He's a little guy. There's that much guttural, primordial, like sound that comes out of him.
I hear he releases every single fiber of the air in his lungs.
Yeah, you know when he
holds it in the whole.
You're supposed to sing from your stomach.
Absolutely,
that is coming from lower.
Yeah, definitely.
Mongolian throat singer.
That's actually a pretty good impression.
That's a really good impression.
Because I've heard that I've had I think 2 super matches with him. I've been on the receiving end of that.
So my favorite is he's at the end where he's and he takes that nice deep breath in, and then he starts all over again.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
But Brandon's been trying out this Beasts growl. I kind of want to hear the prototype. I want to hear what
Yeah,
you're working on.
I'm working on it. So it's
No,
not,
let's
it's
hear it,
not
let's
there
hear it.
yet, but it's more.
Give us a little something.
It's supposed to sound like a. Well, I got this idea from a heavy metal artist named Alex Terrible from Slaughter to Prevail.
Okay.
And it sounds like sort of like if you've ever played Black Ops Zombies, that's exactly what it sounds like.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, right.
The Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
Ah.
It sounds like that.
So you want to hear that? You want to make that noise,
Yeah.
and then walk up to the table to grip up with somebody.
Yeah. I get
Wow.
And
it
they're
eventually.
like, "What are you?
Like, why is he giving me that mating call?
Yeah, what was that, Brandon?
You were like the male
peacocking.
version. What was that? The woman, the famous viral video where she just pulls all these weird faces.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
In arm wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody brought that up last week. We were watching it, and with French actually, and
Oh,
she
right.
hadn't
Is that
seen it
that
before.
one?
Oh,
What?
yeah. I think she was putting it on as an act, but then in the
I
comments,
hope
yeah, in the comments, they're like, "No, she always pulls like that." I'm like, "Really?"
Wow,
It looked
okay.
like it was. Yeah, it was
Hey,
very
if
funny.
it
I'll show
works
you
for you.
after, but yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. All right. Well, yeah, we might end things there. Thank you to all the people in the chat that have been watching and commenting, and we really appreciate it. And we've got, once again, a big thank you to the guests who came in today. Grant Law over there. Oh, you've got the perfect lighting to hit
Yeah.
a bicep pose there, Grant.
There
Look
it
at that.
is.
There
Look
it
at
is. The arm of the law.
Smuggling a couple of lemons in there.
Yeah.
That's right. We've got the beast, Brandon Chan, the original beast. Thank you. And
Thanks
then
for
we-
having me.
Look out. That's the solid forearms of the beast. right
They
there.
are bloody solid.
It's just a
I hear he,
From all
he
the
puts
asbestos.
concrete in there.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah,
breathing
he's
all
got
the
like a little drip.
asbestos.
Mine feels like marshmallows. I thought that was normal.
And the needs a nickname still, Kyle Davison. Thank you for
I'll give
coming
you one
in.
of these.
There you
These
go.
are starting to
He
look
who
good, so I can
remains.
start showing them off now. Look at that.
Hi,
He who
who
remains
nameless.
unnamed.
Look at
He
that.
who shall not be named or whatever. Voldemort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Except
great.
better looking and less fantasy.
A bit more nose. A bit more nosy.
nose.
All right, we'll hit one last double bicep.
There it is.
Ta-da!
Sheesh.
And that's in bad lighting, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
and it still looks good.
All right.